Next, Israel's military says it's launched what it's calling a limited ground operation to take control of northern Gaza. The aim is to retake, it says, control of the Netzarim corridor. This follows extensive air attacks on Tuesday and more bombing this Wednesday morning. Over 400 Palestinians were killed in the strikes 24 hours ago, including, according to Israel's military, 5 senior Hamas leaders. The UN has confirmed a staffer has been killed and 5 others wounded after ordnance was dropped or fired on their base in the Gaza Strip. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has condemned on Wednesday attacks on UN personnel and added in a statement from his spokesperson that all parties in Israel's attack on Gaza knew where the UN's premises were based. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel has said the wave of strikes on Tuesday was only the beginning and that Israel would press ahead until it achieves all of its war aims, which is basically destroying Hamas and freeing, he says, all hostages held by the militant group since its October the 7th, 2023 attack on southern Israel ignited the situation we're seeing today. These are the latest images coming in from the scene. Well, joining us here in the studio to discuss more about the situation, we have 2 guests. Raji Sourani is a Palestinian lawyer and director of the Palestinian Center for Human Rights, which is based in the Gaza Strip. Raji, thank you very much for being with us here on France 24. And on the other side of the studio is Shawan Jabarin, who's General Director of Al-Haq, a Palestinian human rights organization based in the West Bank. Gentlemen, thank you both for being with us here on France 24. Can I start with you, Shawan, about the situation as you're seeing it overall? We have a situation here where Israel has sent its troops in once again to the Gaza Strip. When you see that happening and you think about a possible peace deal being done, I mean, clearly there is no advancement happening diplomatically in terms of negotiations or in any way, shape or form right now. Is that a fair thing to say?
Look, I think it's not a war against Hamas or against this political party or other. This is a war against Palestinian people everywhere. That's the case. What's going on in Gaza? To kill around 1,000 persons in 48 hours. This is not an operation and this is not a limit operation. This is continuing genocide in Gaza and the slow genocide taking place now in West Bank. The reason behind all of these things, it's political reasons, to push Palestinians outside of their country, to take everything, and one people, they want just to live in between Jordan River and Mediterranean Sea. That's all of the things, because who kill children, women, elders, and everyone, and destruct also homes and buildings on heads of people they are living there. It's not like a war. It's not a battlefield. It's just to kill civilians and to kill Palestinians. This is what's going on. Shame that there is no actions by international community. There is no action by third state parties to stop all of these atrocities and the genocide going on since 23. That's what's going on in Gaza. And even Israelis, if they are in competition, politically speaking, between each others, the only thing that they want, that the Palestinians, they have to pay the blood, the receipt, the blood of the Palestinians on the ground. That's what they do everywhere, and it's not new. And we haven't left, I think, in my point of view, the square of 1948 until now. It's repeated by, destructing homes, buildings, communities, burning the houses. There is no military need for all of what they do. The only thing is it's a political vision that they want to push Palestinians outside. All Palestinians, they are targeted.
Shawan, thank you for now. Shawan, of course, based in the West Bank. There's been a similar operation carried out in the West Bank. Not on the same scale, but nonetheless, there have been ongoing operations to force people out of refugee camps. I'm thinking Tulkarem, for instance, and Jenin. That has been going on, hasn't it?
Yes, it's going on now in Nablus. They moved now not to Nablus, to Al Ain refugee camp in Nablus. And they will move. I assure you that they will move also to other places in Ramallah, the refugee camps in Ramallah, in Hebron, in Bethlehem, and everywhere.
Let's cross the studio and bring in Raji Sourani of the Palestinian Center for Human Rights, based in the Gaza Strip. Evacuation orders given to northern Gaza before the operation that was launched. Nonetheless, bombardment happening. Israel saying it targets terrorists, not civilians, but nonetheless, lots of civilians are being killed. How are you seeing this situation from the Gaza side of it? Clearly, what is happening is huge distress for you, for all Palestinians. What are you seeing as the next possible outcome of what happens now?
Israel has, since day one of this war, very simple and clear target. They want to push 2.5 million people from Gaza to Sinai, to Egypt. This is the ultimate goal. The president of Israel said simple words. We cannot distinguish between civilians and Hamas. All of them are complicit and all of them are human animals. Netanyahu said all Gazans should be out of Gaza. And the Minister of Defense at the time said no water, no electricity, no food and no fuel. And we will not distinguish between Hamas and civilians. Everybody in Gaza complicit and will be targeted. This was said publicly and clearly 3 days after October 7th. And many think, the conflict began on October 7th. The Palestinian-Israeli conflict began 77 years ago, at least. And it began with Nakba.
You could count it back even further. Even before 1948.
Exactly. And the Nakba was landmark. Now, they tried their best to do that by massive killing, massive destruction, massive displacement, and massive starvation all over the place. And they pushed everybody, as you recall, to the southern part in Mawasi and Rafah area. And when Netanyahu ordered of invading Rafah and Mawasi, the intention was pushing these 2 million people to Sinai. And this failed. Now, the intent is there, the practice there, and it's ideal situation of genocide. And this genocide doesn't happen in one blow, doesn't happen in one day. This is ongoing systematic patterns. And this is going for the last 18 months. Everybody knows about it and never stopped. And once again, Netanyahu, by bringing Ben Gvir in, this was the deposit in order to allow such extremists, to go in. And again, the intention will be more killing, more destruction, more starvation, and more displacement in order to push the 2.5 million people outside of the Gaza, and the West Bankers will come in later stage to be pushed to Jordan. We don't exist for Israel, and the good Palestinian is dead Palestinians. Israel in the Knesset made legislation in simple words saying there is one self-determination for the Jews. We, the Palestinians, don't exist. We are the sons of the valley. We will stay there.
And as you say, bringing back Itamar Ben Gvir of the far right into Netanyahu's cabinet, again, is another statement that this is going to continue in that sense, because clearly it was the far right that was pushing towards this.
Yes.
Can I ask you both, gentlemen, about Hamas? Because if some people watching this internationally might think if Hamas is taken out of the equation, that would lead to some kind of a peace situation. Is that something that you think Israel doesn't care about now? It's just a question of continuing to get the end that they want, to take control of the territory? Or do you think if Hamas is out of it, would it change? What do ordinary Palestinians on the West Bank and Gaza think about Hamas?
Hamas is part of us, part of our chemistry, part of our political structure.
So that's the problem, though.
Whether we are like it or not. Never ever the Palestinian, was good person. The good Palestinian person is the dead Palestinian. That's how Israel viewed that. Arafat was terrorist. Habash was terrorist. PLO leadership terrorist. Every Palestinian who wants to have an end for this criminal belligerent occupation is a terrorist. And that's include Hamas too. What about Abu Mazen? He's a classified terrorist.
So all Palestinians support Hamas. Can I just ask the final word? Because we're Our time is up, sadly, and there's so much more to talk about. Finally, one from you, Shawan Jabarin. If there was an election tomorrow, would Hamas win?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Might be, but also nothing will justify the killings of civilians and attacking in this way, you know. This is a genocide and continuing genocide.
Okay, the removal of Hamas, it seems, would make no difference whatsoever. Shawan Jabarin of Al-Haq, the human rights organisation in the West Bank, thank you for joining us. And Raji Sourani, a Palestinian lawyer, Director of the Palestinian Center for Human Rights based in the Gaza Strip. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and analysis with us. And thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us here at France 24. We appreciate your time. We'll continue, of course, to report on all developments on the situation in the Middle East. We take a very short break. After that, the news continues here on World View. Thanks for being with us.